Hi everyone, welcome to IoT IXIS on Tech. Today is TNOS Wired's Tech News on Sunday with IXIS on Tech. Yes, I've changed the name just a little bit. Instead of being The News on Sunday, TNOS, then I thought I'd change it to Tech News on Sunday with IXIS on Tech. Today is the 7th of March. No, it's the 8th of March today. Today is Sunday the 8th of March. So in good old-fashioned me, I'm going to open up the Google News app and see what technology news is around today. So if you want to click on any of the links or read in the news articles that I'm about to show you today, then just have a look for the website this come from. Or you can find it on there because I'm too lazy to put the links down below. So let's have a look. There's a lot, obviously, in the news recently about the human malware that's going around. But let's see what tech news we have today, shall we? Which is now millions of Android tablets at risk of hacking because they run on KitKat. Now I still have my old Transformer TF101, which I've ROMmed. I can't remember what. I think I've got Android 7 on there, but I've also got my TF303, and I'm pretty sure that runs KitKat. What else have we got? How to stop your smart home spying on you. From The Guardian, this one is. So let's have a look to see what this is all about then. Everything in your smart home, from the light bulbs to the thermostat, can be recording or collecting data about you. What can you do to curb the intrusion? Turn off the internet. During an interview with the BBC last year, Google's Senior Vice President for Devices and Services, Rick Osterlock, pondered whether a homeowner should disclose the presence of smart home devices to guests. I would, and do, when someone enters into my home, he said. When your central heating thermostat asks for your phone number, your TV knows what you like to watch, and hackers can install spyware in your home through a light bulb security flaw. Perhaps it's time we all started taking smart home privacy issues more seriously. Just this week, the National Cybersecurity Centre issued a warning to owners of smart cameras and baby monitors to review their security settings. Yeah, a few weeks ago, wasn't it? That Xiaomi camera got hacked, and somebody on a Google Nest Hub device were able to view somebody else's video looking over their child. And unfortunately for me, all my Xiaomi devices went down because I'm part of the Xiaomi ecosystem. Yeah, so just make sure that your passwords are really secure. Letters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and special characters, for example. Although in work, I work for a call center. This isn't my day job, unfortunately. In work, I used a pound sign. And for some reason, one program that I was using did not like the pound sign being in a password. I had to change it to $1. What else have we got here? AMD processors going back to 2011 suffer from worrying security holes. Now I read this earlier on. So this is obviously AMD Ryzen processors and upwards from the new ones. So a pair of freshly revealed attacks have not yet been patched. So AMD's processors from as early as 2011 through to 2019 are carrying vulnerabilities that are as yet unpatched, according to some freshly published research. Known as takeaway, every security problem needs a snappy name, of course. Security researchers said that they reverse engineered the L1D cache way predicted in AMD silicon in order to discover two potential attack vectors. Dun, dun, dun. So given all the attention which is focused on the flaws in Intel CPUs in recent times, vulnerabilities which haven't affected AMD chips in a number of cases, this might just serve as a reminder that no one's silicon is bulletproof. So keep an eye out if you're running a Ryzen, and of course Intel, because they still have some vulnerabilities. Keep an eye out on the motherboard manufacturers' websites every now and then for patches for any security loopholes, etc. The Bahrain GP, I know this isn't tech, but I do like my Formula 1. That's starting, I think it's next week. The Bahrain GP to take place behind closed doors amid human malware fears. Ooh, this is one's for all you gamers out there. Halo. I better not sing it because I'll get a copyright strike. Halo combat evolved at 8K and 60 frames per second. So what sort of motherboard and graphics card and CPU would you need for that? Oh, I'd love to get myself on AMD, what they call EPIC processor. Can you imagine that? Wowza. So Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition recently made a surprise appearance on the PC version of Halo. the Master Chief, I only say chef then, collection. So we didn't want to waste any time to see how the remastered version of the iconic shooter would play at huge 8K resolution. To do that, we fired up our epic 8K gaming rig, which features the most powerful consumer graphics card in the world, the NVIDIA RTX Titan. Previously, we tried out Halo Reach on PC at 8K and found that it ran impeccably easy, hitting 60 frames per second even during hectic moments. And surprisingly, considering Halo Combat Evolved is an older game based on the same engine, the game that kick-started the Halo franchise also managed resolutions of 7,680 times 4,320 at a rock-solid 60 frames per second. Impressive. Oh, it did give some stats as well. A motherboard Asus ROG Strix Z390E, or Z390E as we are in the UK. A CPU cooler Noctua NHU14S Noctua case fans. Processor was an Intel Core i9-9900K. 9900K. I said that right. 8 core, 16 thread, and of course the NVIDIA GeForce Titan RTX. Have you seen the price on those? Wow, they're so expensive. 500 gig Samsung 970 Evo Plus M.2 PCIe. James May explains the massive problem with electric cars. Now, I did watch on Drive Tribe earlier on where they were showing the E-Mini, or Mini E, should I say. Yeah, not my type of car. What do you think of Minis? Yay, nay, somewhere in the middle. Leave a comment below if you like them. What else have we got? How Game of Thrones inspired Panasonic's TV's best new features. Now, I'm guessing this to do with a couple of those episodes that a lot of people moaned about, where it was just too dark and couldn't see anything. Let's have a look. Brightness sensors could make a startling difference to home viewing. Gosh, new TVs do turn around quickly, don't they? With a strict annual product cycle and the likes of IFA and CES 2020 offering plenty of opportunities for the biggest TV brands to show off their wares, new sets are continually being shown off, often with only incremental upgrades between generations. On the face of it, 2020 may seem like one of those years. OLED is now firmly established in the premium product ranges, while most new ranges seem like a polishing of what has come before. But there's one new TV technology for 2020 that isn't being shouted about enough, and that's the new Game of Thrones inspired brightness sensors used by Panasonic and LG TVs. Here's why they're worth paying attention to. Dolby Vision IQ 101. Okay, so Dolby Vision, obviously that has, is it 1,000 nits of brightness on a TV? So it says it all started with Dolby Vision IQ, an algorithm designed to improve television calibration when watching the dynamic HDR Dolby Vision format. So it doesn't really tell us in the article of how those light sensors work. I have seen, was it BenQ, I think, one of the monitors, where a calibration tool just like flipped up from the top and looked over the screen, and then it would calibrate the brightness, color temperature, and all that stuff. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So if you're into Panasonic TVs, a new TV coming later on this year will have the Game of Thrones inspired lighting sensor to make your picture look the best, whatever program that you're watching. 5 Google Maps tricks you didn't know until today. Okay, let's have a gander at that one. From ordering food using Google Maps indoors, you'll use these tips daily. So this is on CNET. You use your Google Maps on your Android or iPhone to check commute times on your way to work and find new restaurants to try out on the weekends. But if you're only using Maps for the basics, you're missing out. Google Maps has several overlooked features that you may not know about. For example, when visiting other countries, you can use Google Maps to translate the name of where you're trying to go, like a cafe, which is extremely helpful if you're using cab to get there. Also, you can use Maps indoors when you're at the airport. What's the other thing then? Translate place names and addresses. Customize your vehicle icon. That's on iPhone only. You can order food. If you'd rather stay at home in your PJs and go out for lunch, then Google Maps has you covered. The Maps app uses services like DoorDash, Postmates, Delivery.com, Slice, and Chow Now to deliver your food to you. To deliver your food order to you, should I say. When you're in Maps, search for a participating restaurant and tap Order Online. Next, choose Delivery and pick a service to deliver to your door. Deliver your food. Now you can add what you'd like to eat to your cart. When you're finished, select Checkout, enter your payment details, and then tap Place Your Order. so you can measure distances between areas. Now, I used to do this on the online version through the website. If you want to know the distance between two places, then you find this Google Maps tool handy. It's called Measure Distance, and you can use it on your desktop and phone. It gives you the total distance of feet and kilometers. If you're using Google Maps in your browser on your PC or Mac, right-click the starting point in Google Maps. Next, select Measure Distance and continue on the measuring path until you've selected the entire area you'd like to see the distance of. I used to use that before. Using maps indoors, it can be tricky to find your way around a large airport, especially if you're not a frequent flyer. Fortunately, you can use Google Maps to help direct you around unfamiliar terminals, and the map will show you nearby gates, restaurants, shops, lounges, and other places of interest in that area. And is that the last one? Yeah. So how many of those did you know about? Leave in the comment below. What else have we got here? New AMD side channel attacks discovered. Impact Zen architecture. We went over that one a moment ago, didn't we? But human malware. Reset your computer once a year for a happier life. This is on Wired. You know, some people do that with their phones. One of my friends of mine, his phone was slowing down. So I might reset it. I've had it for like 2-3 years now. Sometimes it can be good, but there's all that important, I can't remember my password, having to reset things. Yeah, it can be a faff, can't it? Ferrari F1 hit another major roadblock, threatening to derail its 2020 campaign. That's about the engines. We saw 1917 with Dolby Atmos surround sound, and it was utterly mind-blowing. Dolby Atmos, that's where you have like 7 or more speakers in your home, 2 front, 2 rear, maybe 2 sub-channels. We also get the ones above and also the center channel. I haven't got Dolby Atmos, unfortunately, because my room isn't big enough. I do have a Denon separate Mission speakers. I do have a sub as well, but yeah, very interesting. So about football. Oh, the Google Pixel 4a mid-ranger appears again in newly leaked images. Who's into their mobile phones? So what to expect in May? It shouldn't be too long before Google Pixel 4a officially breaks cover, and we've got some newly leaked images to pour over ahead of its launch, showing the handset in one of Google's familiar fabric cases. Pictures come courtesy of Reddit via 9to5Google, and it's not immediately clear where these images originated in first place. So apply the usual pinch of salt when deciding whether they're genuine or not. So, is that the one on there? Looks like it. Very short article. That's on Tech Radar. Oh, what? Look at that one, UK fans. Xiaomi shuts down its first and only Mi store in the UK. Oh, I didn't even get a chance to go there either. Xiaomi has closed its first and only Mi store in the United Kingdom, but don't panic. It is not related to the human malware epidemic. The company decided to shut the doors on the store located in Westfield Shopping Centre in Shepherd's Bush, London on March 5th, 2020. Already, the Westfield London website has been updated with a disclaimer that the UK Mi store is no longer open for trading. Further, the Twitter account for the store is now offline. The UK Mi store first opened shop in November 2018 and had in stock several Xiaomi products ranging from smartphones, smart bands, smart home gadgets, electric scooters, umbrellas, etc. However, the store soon became notorious for not having most of the products in stock. Apart from that, the prices of the products in stock are markedly higher than what is obtainable online. Thus, the closure may be tied to low patronage and a desire to cut costs and focus more on vibrant markets in Europe. Oh, that's a shame. Don't forget there was Gearbest and AliExpress and the other places. AMD is changing the type of cooler it uses on next-gen graphics cards. Now, I did briefly have a look at this earlier on today. This is about PC Gamer. So, previous AMD graphics cards had a blower type of fan on it, which kind of like sucked in the air from the top of the card and shot it out the back of the card. So what does it say? AMD is changing the type of cooler it uses on next-gen graphics cards. AMD is following in NVIDIA's footsteps by switching to axial fan coolers on its next-gen graphics cards. If you're not a fan of the blower-style GPU coolers, start that one again. If you're not a fan of blower-style GPU coolers, AMD has good news! Yay! It's getting rid of them, yay, for its next generation Radeon graphics cards based on its RDNA 2 architecture. In its place, AMD will switch to an axial fan cooling solution, just as NVIDIA did when it launched its GeForce RTX series and later the GeForce GTX cards based on Turing. When it comes to GPU coolers, blowers have the advantage of expelling hot air directly outside the case, since the exhaust vent is positioned in the expansion slot. Generally speaking, however, they do not cool as well as axial fan solutions and are often louder, sometimes a lot louder. Well, I've got, what have I got? The boxes up there. I've got a Gigabyte RX 570 and that's got the axial fans. So they suck the air at the bottom and then expel it out the side, I think. I don't know. Yeah, so look out for AMD branded cards with the axial fans. What we got there? Toyota has to crush stock of brand new cars. Got it. Ooh, here we go. PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles would need you to get a brand new TV. That's on the T3 website. Brand new TV? Why? Oh, it's probably something to do with the HDMI. To get the most out of your next-gen consoles, you need a next-gen TV. So the PS5 and Xbox Series X are set to be hugely powerful consoles with specs that make them capable of feats that are not attainable with the current gen PS4 and Xbox One X, I mean. But to take advantage of them, you need a TV that's up to the par. And it's likely your current big black box isn't it. Microsoft unveiled its new console at last year's Game Awards, revealing that the console will be twice as fast as the Xbox One X, followed up with the specs drop just last month. It utilizes a custom processor that allows for high frame rate of up to 120 Hz and 8K resolutions, a far world away from the Xbox One X's 4K 60 frames per second. So your current TV probably isn't equipped to support these features, and here's why. To enable support for high frame rates and resolutions, both consoles will swap out the current gen HDMI 2.0 ports that support a maximum 4K 60 frames per second for the latest HDMI 2.1 standard. Microsoft has already confirmed this outright, and while Sony is yet to do a spec reveal, knowing what the PS5 will be capable of, it's a given that it will update to the newest iteration. So if you're planning on buying a PS5 or the Xbox One X Series X times 210, whatever it is, you might have to get a new TV with a HDMI 2.1 port on it. If you want to read the rest of that, go to T3 or not that website. Yeah. So your smart TV is watching everything you do. Here's how to stop it. Disconnect it from the internet for starters. Don't type in the Wi-Fi key. Get yourself a Chromecast or a little smart box or an Amazon Fire Stick. Oh, here you go on Giz China for you Intel Blue Boy fans, whatever you want to call yourselves. An unfixable flaw in Intel chips could create total chaos. Let's have a look to see what this one's about, shall we? So researchers have found a nasty bug in an essential component that is at the base of the entire cryptographic chain of trust in Intel systems. This vulnerability allows to decrypt or modify everything on a machine. This flaw consumes all recent Intel chips. So bad news for Intel chip users. Security researchers at Positive Technologies have discovered a flaw in the boot ROM of the Converged Security Management Engine, CSME. It's a hardware memory component that is the basis of the entire cryptographic chain of trust for Intel computers, executed at the very start of startup. This software, which is therefore impossible to correct, will generate a Trusted Platform Module, TPM. It's a special memory area that allows encryption keys to be stored securely. Okay, so it says this flaw concerns all recent Intel chips with the exception of the latest generation, so I'm guessing that's going to be 10th generation. Okay, so it says here a bit further down, they believe it can only be exploited through physical access and special equipment. A patch had also been released in 2019 to prevent potential attacks. So if you want to read more about that, go to Giz China. Here we go for you Philips Hue fans out there. So the original Philips Hue bridge hub is losing all internet connectivity on April 30th. So that's the old round hub, not the newer square hub. So if you do have one of the old Philips Hue hubs, then time to upgrade, I'm afraid. Fossil Sport Cell introduces a ridiculous $90 price. Now I did have a look on Amazon.co.uk earlier on for a Fossil Sport watch. Not there. I think the cheapest was about 125, but you had to pay £15 delivery as well. What else have we got? Sony's new noise cancelling headset appears online. Secret codes of Android. The Canon EOS M5 is a great beginner mirrorless camera with this 40% off deal. That's on Tech Radar. If you fancy a new mirrorless camera for the summer to take all your snaps when you're down the beach or whatever. Okay, so PC Gamer has this interesting article. Get this RX 5700 XT graphic card for £320. Its lowest price ever. Let's have a click on that one, shall we? Save on this factory overclocked ASUS tough tough gaming X3 Radeon RX 500 XT GPU. So owning one of the best graphics cards is a must if you want to play the latest games on the highest settings, and there are plenty of options out there if your aging GPU is letting you down, like this deal on the ASUS Tough Gaming X3 Radeon RX 5700 XT over at Amazon. It's one of the better AMD graphics cards on the market, and it's sitting at just £320, the lowest price we've ever seen it. So if you fancy the Asus Tough Gaming X3 Radeon RX 5700 XT, £319.96. Factory overclock GPU. What does it have? 8 gig of GDDR6 memory. I mean, you won't have any issues playing games at 1080p and 1440p. Gaming mode gives this card a 1650 MHz base clock and a 1905 MHz boost clock. And there's also an overclock mode which bumped those figures even higher. Wow. Triple fan cooling should keep those temperatures down during more strenuous gaming sessions, and the whole thing is secured in a protective backplate and boasts an all-round sleek design. Anybody would lend me £320? When will buying an 8K TV be worth it? Apparently the Japanese Olympics now in 2020, they're supposed to be broadcasting 8K in some places around the world. Very expensive though, the 8K TV I'm on about now. What else do we have? Google could have fixed 2FA code stealing flaw in Authenticator app years ago. Naughty Google. This absurdly cheap wooden PC comes with a rather big flaw. Probably cooling if it's covered in wood. And are we coming to the end? Ooh, a bathroom cleaning robot. Yeah, I don't like cleaning the toilet either. The Worldwide Developers Conference 2020. Apple's upcoming 5G iPhone could be delayed due to human malware. Moto 360 2019 review. A familiar blend of good hardware and bad software. So the Moto 360 was, in a way, like the first proper Android Wear OS smartwatch that came around, but nobody liked its flat tire approach, wasn't it? It was the circle, but a flat bottom, because they couldn't quite make a proper round LCD back in the day. How many of you people have smartwatches out there? So Tech Radar has your smart home's fragile existence relies on a factor you can't control, the internet. So how to turn your Android phone into a dash cam? Now that's something that I do with one of my old phones. I use, Autoboy app, a rigid phone holder, stick it up by the rear view mirror, remember to push record, but after a while you do get used to it, hitting record. So if you've got an old phone lying around, an old Android phone, charge up the battery before you go for a short journey, for example, and you go to Tesco's or to Cardiff and back. I'm in Newport at the moment. Stick it behind the rear view mirror, beep, hit record, 32 or 64 gig SD card in there, keeps you writing over the old journeys. Top tip there. Aldi to launch budget smart robot that mops and vacuums, and you can control the areas it cleans. Now Aldi here in the UK and probably around most of Europe, they're the German supermarket. Every now and then they have special offers on electronics and stuff. And so there we go. The Maserati, if you like your cars, Maserati MC20 appears in artsy blurry teaser. So I think it was the MC10 that had like a big Ferrari engine in it. Really powerful car, really nice, but very expensive. And they're about to release another one. So there we go, there's Tech News on Sunday with IXIS on Tech. That's the news all done for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below if you haven't done so already. And don't forget, I'll catch you next Sunday for Tech News on Sunday with IXIS on Tech. I thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day, and hopefully you wake up tomorrow in time for work on Monday. Have a good week, and I'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.